What's up, EFD squad? Welcome back to Euro Roundup, where we take a look at the winners and losers from this weekend's action from Europe, obviously. First winners of the weekend, Real Madrid. They've been sent in by @Haskarim. How you doing, mate? Why are they on our winners, Pat?
Well, Zinedine Zidane is back in charge at the Bernabeu, and he's back winning games as well. Real beat Celta Vigo 2-0 comfortably at home. And they'd actually lost 4 of their 6 games before this, so they really were in need of a victory. And Zidane made some pretty punchy choices. 5 changes, most notably recalling Marcelo, Bale and Isco, who of course were all pretty much out of favour under Solari. And he dropped Courtois to the bench in favour of Keylor Navas. Now, all those guys pretty much showed their quality in this game. Navas made an incredible save early on in the game. The other 3 were all involved in at least 1 goal each. And Real dominated the first half, playing some wonderful football, but didn't manage to make the breakthrough till the second when Isco scored. That's just his second of the campaign and his first goal at the Bernabeu since scoring against the same opposition last season.
Wow.
And Bale wrapped up the win in the 77th minute, scored a right-footed goal for once. And it's nice to kind of see the jeers turn to cheers for the Welshman. He's obviously been having a rough ride this season at the Bernabeu, but he's got 8 goals, and it looks like maybe with Zidane back, he might kind of turn into the free-scoring forward that he was a couple of years ago.
Yes, let's hope so. As for Celta Vigo, they probably didn't expect to win this game, did they? Real have now won 9 of their last 10 games against them and have scored an average of 3.7 goals per game over those 10 games. So this was actually, slightly below average. But nevertheless, like you were saying, key men were recalled by Zidane and they all had fantastic games. Isco in particular, 4 shots, 3 key passes and 97% pass accuracy. All game highs for everyone on the pitch. So a real complete performance from the Spaniard. Really good to see him back in form because just how was he languishing on the bench under Solari. Yeah. Marcelo also made 3 dribbles, 2 key passes and 1 assist. And Bale, as you were saying, 3 tackles, 3 shots on target, hit the woodwork and had the most amounts of touches for an attacking player with 65. Pretty impressive for someone playing that high up the field. Really just shows how dominant Real were in this game. However, the visitors, they did hold their own for a bit of the game, 47% of the ball overall, but they did only have 1 shot on target and expected goals of 0.3, so they only really looked like one team winning, didn't they? Celta Vigo are now 4 points off safety, so relegation looking like a very, very real possibility for them now after kind of getting away by the skin of their teeth last season, wasn't it? Real Madrid have now made ground on Atleti though, but they remain 12 points off Barcelona, so that title does look kind of beyond their reach, doesn't it? But a good start from Zidane. What do you think about his start to his Real tenure? Can he bring them back to the team that they were in the last couple of years? Let us know in the comments below.
Just before we move on to our first losers of the week, a quick reminder to make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Of course, ERU comes out every week, and we have many other great shows, including Stat Wars, the league, which is normally good, but it's rubbish at the moment because I'm not involved.
I mean, I probably have to agree.
How's it going? How have you done?
I have done all right. I think I've got 1 win and 1 loss so far. I lost to Bab, beat Doogie. So.
Lost to Bab?
Yeah, I know. It's a tight one this year. Everyone's losing and they're beating and losing to each other. So, yeah.
Wide open field.
Exactly.
Former champ Michael McCubbin to go all the way. Anyway, Juventus are our first losers. This comes from @Cornish2603. And it was a shocking result at the weekend, wasn't it?
It really was. Fell to their first Serie A defeat, did the old lady. 2-0 away at Genoa. It was just a pretty atrocious performance in general from Allegri's men. After his Champions League heroics midweek, Ronaldo was rightly rested by the manager, but this did come back to haunt him. Obviously, they dropped points for this the 4th time this season. VAR had a big role to play, as seems just normal every weekend in European football these days. Genoa had a penalty denied in the first half as a result of video technology. But nevertheless, Juve were clearly far from their best. Although they dominated possession with 60%, they had 0 shots on target. I'd be interested to see when they last managed that, and Genoa managed 5, so well worth their victory. And just to make it an even harder pill for Allegri's men to swallow, they were punished in the second half by former Juve man Stefano Sturaro. Obviously joined Genoa this January, and this was his first start for his former club as well. Obviously played for Genoa before he went to Juve. But it's funny because Genoa have actually not been that bad against the old lady this year.
Yeah, they're the only club in Serie A to have taken points off them in both their Serie A games this season, and now they're up to 12th, which is pretty impressive given that in the first half of the year, of course, it was Piontek who was kind of keeping them going, him in combination with Kouame. And Kouame has carried on being very, very good, but it's amazing that after Piontek left, they've managed to maintain their performance levels. And in this game, I'd say Goran Pandev was arguably man of the match, despite only playing a third of the game. Came on in the 59th minute. Of course, he's 35 years old now. Got the assist to the first goal and scored the second. He managed 3 shots and 2 on target in that half hour he was on the pitch. That's more than any Juventus player in both categories. And in defence, Domenico Crescito deserves a shout out as well. He was dealing with Mandzukic and Dybala in this game, which is a real combination of threats to face. Made 4 tackles, 2 interceptions and 8 clearances. Allegri, on the other hand, will be a bit disappointed with Dybala. Obviously, his recent form, not tremendous, has been in and out of the side and had just 2 shots and 1 dribble in this game, when you'd have expected that he'd want to be at his best to prove that he deserves a place in the side as they reach the latter stages of the Champions League. He's scored just 4 goals in the league so far. That's his worst return up until this point since he joined the Bianconeri. However, Juventus are still going to win the league.
Yeah, of course.
Substantially. They're 15 points clear of Napoli, so they haven't really got anything to worry about there, but it's a bit disappointing that Allegri couldn't finally get that unbeaten season to match Conte's. And of course, now the narrative's going to be about whether they can win games without Cristiano Ronaldo. So I suppose, what do you guys think? Do you think that the side is over-reliant on Cristiano Ronaldo? It'd be weird if that was the case after only 9 months or so there, but we're a little bit unsure. So let us know in the comments below.
We go to Germany for our second winners from the weekend, and this comes from @Ali Abdullah BHR. He has suggested Borussia Dortmund. Pat, what happened to them, or what did they do?
Well, they managed to stay level on points with Bayern Munich after coming from behind against Hertha Berlin to win 3-2. Now, this was an away game, and Hertha started pretty brightly. They were 2-1 up before Marco Reus led a real 11th hour comeback. Got a last-minute goal. That's Reus's 19th in 31 games for Dortmund this season. But actually, I think... And we've already said that this was a mistake, but Axel Witsel has been a sensational signing for Dortmund this season. He was missed in this game, and as a result, the defence looked a lot leakier than usual without that extra layer of protection. They couldn't deal with Salomon Kalou in the opening minutes. He's got 7 goals in 9 appearances versus Dortmund. This season in the Bundesliga, he's got 5 goals overall against all clubs, and 4 of them have been against Dortmund. He's just an absolute monster when he plays them. I don't know what it is. But fortunately, Dortmund have now such a powerful attack that even when the defence is shipping easy goals, they're able to score their way back into contention. So in this match, 25 shots compared to 7 for their hosts. That's a hell of an away performance. And if you read some of the individual stats, they're outrageous. Marco Reus, 2 shots, 3 key passes, 2 dribbles. That's pretty good. Pulisic, 7 shots, Ronaldo numbers, 1 key pass and 2 dribbles. And Jadon Sancho, 5 shots, 5 key passes, 6 dribbles, and 2 assists. He's now tied with Messi for the most league assists in Europe's top 5 leagues. So they really do have a sensational attack, and admittedly, they might lose 2/3 of that attack in the summer. True. But nonetheless, managed to come back, and all they need is for Bayern to make a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, it looks quite, it looks unlikely at the moment, doesn't it, with Bayern's form? But, and yeah, to concede 12 shots, or to get 12 shots from the wings is just mental. But there was some drama late on as well, aside from Reus's last-minute winner. Great assist from Sancho for that as well. Torreira was shown a second yellow in the 85th minute with the score 2-2 before Ibisevic received a straight red after he threw the ball at goalkeeper Roman Bürki after Reus scored that 93rd minute winner. So Berlin kind of shot themselves in the foot here, and without that second yellow in the 85th minute, wouldn't have destabilised things. Maybe Dortmund wouldn't have been able to get that all-crucial win. However, as for the hosts, they only have 1 win in their last 5 games and face RB Leipzig next, so not looking great for them. But however, they kind of don't really have a huge amount to play for this season. Yeah. They're 15 points off the drop, so no danger of going down. And they're 7 points and 4 places away from European football. So they're very much mid-table mediocrity.
Yeah, deck chairs.
this season. So yeah, just fine for them really, isn't it? But while we're on the subject of the bully as a whole, we couldn't include them this week, but we do need to shout out Bayern Munich and James Rodriguez in particular after their battering of Mainz 6-0 on Sunday. Hat-trick from the Colombian. Don't know when the last time he scored a hat-trick in his career.
But he's miserable there, isn't he? He's so miserable there.
Yeah.
Gets a hat-trick, wins 6-0.
Yeah,
not too
absolutely fine. And also Alphonso Davies scored the 6th for Bayern. Don't know where that came from. Yeah. But he is the youngest scorer for Bayern since Roque Santa Cruz in 1999.
Wow.
That's 18 years old. So Bayern not ones for giving 17-year-olds chances, or at least not for having them scoring. But still pretty impressive from Alphonso Davies. Obviously signed from, was it Vancouver? Was it he played for?
I think it was the Whitecaps. Yeah.
So yeah, great to see a youngster coming in from the MLS and doing bits. So on that subject though, who do you think is going to win the Bundesliga? Because we talked about this. Yeah.
I think it'll be Bayern.
Yeah.
I think it'll be Bayern. They've got a better goal difference now. I think maybe 7 ahead or something like that on goal difference. Level on points, bigger squad. Dortmund not in great form. Both sides out of the Champions League. I don't know. I just think Bayern do it. I think they get it done.
Yeah, I think they just got a little bit more, don't they?
Yeah.
They've got more options, and they're clearly in great form at the moment, despite that loss to Liverpool. But what do you guys think? Let us know in the poll above. Who's going to be crowned Bully champions at the end of the season?
Our second and final losers of the week are AC Milan. This comes from @Erebor_Kevin. And it was a particularly painful defeat for them, wasn't it?
It was, obviously, the Milan derby. They've now been leapfrogged by City rivals Inter after losing 3-2 on Sunday, dropping to 4th now. The Rossoneri were facing an uphill struggle from the start. They went behind to Mattias Vecino, who shot from close range in the 3rd minute. That's the fastest goal in the Milan derby since 2011, when Pato did it after 43 seconds. It's a blast from the past, isn't it? Other goals came from De Vrij and Lautaro Martinez to secure all 3 points, with the goals from Milan coming from Bakayoko and Musecchio, who both scored their first goals of the season. I believe Bakayoko, that's his first full Milan full stop. But it continues a damning run for Gattuso's men. They haven't beaten Inter in their last 6 Serie A fixtures, 3 draws and 3 losses, with their last win coming in January 2016. This is over 3 years now this run has been going on. Sort it out. The game itself was pretty tight. 55% possession for Milan, 7 shots, 5 on target to Inter's 10 with 5 on target. But there was one man who probably could have had a better day at the office. Piontek, we were kind of expecting him to maybe slow down his productivity for the Rossoneri, weren't we? And unfortunately, it came in a game of this magnitude. He managed just 1 shot off target, 1 key pass, and failed to add to his 6 goals in 8 Serie A games for his new side. But what did you make of Inter, Pat?
Inter look pretty impressive. I mean, like, they've been a bit up and down under Spalletti. They've never quite hit the kind of fluid heights that his Roma side did. But I still think maybe it's 1 or 2 windows away, and they've been revamping the backroom staff. So perhaps we'll see that start to improve over the next couple of seasons. I don't know. They still seem to buy a ton of midfielders, but at the moment, 53 points from the last 23 games. That sees them in 3rd, 7 points off 2nd, which in real terms is pretty much like winning Serie A at the moment. Like, leaving aside the fact that Juve are there, you might as well compete for 2nd. That's like winning the league. And Vecino had a really, really good game. Obviously got that early goal. 4 shots, 3 key passes. And Handanovic, still great as well. Still defying age. 4 saves and really dominated his area. There were 3 times he came out and punched away or claimed a dangerous cross, which is really, really important to relieve some of that pressure. Because Milan are a big physical side. You know, obviously Musacchio getting goal, Bakayoko getting goal. You're seeing, real kind of strength in the air there from those players. So I think, I don't know. I think Handanovic actually has made the difference for Inter under Spalletti. He had a sensational season last year as well. Spalletti himself, not quite such a good game. He got sent to the stands. An overreaction when the referee downgraded a red card to a yellow card for Milan's Conti. It turned out he'd made the wrong decision and just been a little bit harsh. Downgraded his decision, and Spalletti went berserk on the sidelines. Anyway, tough fixtures up next. Milan have Sampdoria, while Inter have Lazio. Roma are still 4 points off AC. So the question is whether they can hold on for these Champions League spots. If they can, I think you've got to say that it's a successful season for both sides. But we're not entirely sure what's going to happen. So why don't you guys discuss it in the comments? Star of the week is next, and we've gone extremely mainstream this time. We've gone for a young man called Lionel Messi, who seems like he's good. He's in his, how old is he? He's 32.
He's in his early 30s, yeah. Still got a few years left,
Got some life in him.
Yeah.
This comes from @Jack_Cole, who pretty much just like went for the most obvious candidate this week.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Lionel Messi is good apparently. Stop press. But you know what? Like, this is the best hat-trick I've seen in a long, long time. An absolutely outrageous 3 goals he scored against Real Betis as Barcelona beat them 4-1 away to go 10 points clear at the top of La Liga. So good that the Real Betis fans stood up, applauded, and joined the Blaugrana faithful in chanting his name.
I mean, in fairness,
mental.
It is a pleasure to see Messi.
Yeah.
Like even if he beats your side, you've got to be like, I mean, I did see the best player of all time score an incredible hat-trick. I saw Messi score a hat-trick. It was great.
Yeah.
Even though I hate Barcelona and everything they stand for.
Yeah, and imagine, like, and especially at this age as well, like knowing that you've seen him before, maybe in the next few years, maybe he may start to slow down or whatever. So knowing that you've caught him kind of at his, I don't know, can you call it his peak? He's just been at his peak for about 10 years now.
I don't know. Like, 2012 was that season where he scored like a billion goals, but this season he might be the most complete he's ever been. Like, to score this many goals, get this many assists, this many dribbles, at his age as well, is just staggering. Like, if they win the Champions League this season, I think he'll have played. It will be more a one-man performance getting them to the Champions League this season than it was with Ronaldo in any of the seasons he won the Champions League with Real Madrid. More of a one-man effort.
Big shout,
I don't think Barcelona are that great relative to how good Real Madrid were.
Yeah, he does take them up a notch, doesn't he? Like, just all the last 2 years, really, he's made the difference, hasn't he? And furthermore, that was his 34th hat-trick in the Spanish top flight. Not, just overall for Barcelona. In La Liga alone, 34 hat-tricks. That's now equalled CR7's tally, so you'd expect him to surpass that and break yet another record. And he's now scored, even more astoundingly, more free kicks since 2011-12 than the entire Real Madrid team. Like, not just his current team, just Real Madrid as an entity.
What?
He's scored more goals, 25 direct goals from set pieces, and Real Madrid have managed 24 in that time. So it's just...
This is silly.
I just can't believe... Well, I mean, I can believe it because it's Messi, but it's just ridiculous, isn't it? He's also scored more than Lyon, this is free kicks, more goals than Lyon, PSG, Roma and Liverpool in the last 8 seasons as well. Just to, further his standing as, the GOAT.
Yeah,
is there any... Yeah. Sorry.
He's like the best goal scorer I've ever seen. The best goal scorer I've ever seen. The best creator I've ever seen. The best dribbler. Best free kick taker. Like, I mean, seriously, he's actually amazing at everything. And also the thing about Messi is, like, when you watch like a highlight reel of him, and I've always felt that this is actually the amazing thing about Messi, he almost never does the wrong thing. Like sometimes you see him beat a guy like 30 yards out and the window opens for him to shoot and he looks at it and then he just decides not to every time because he knows he can do something better. And that to me is like part of the greatness of Messi. Like, he makes his side better, but he also never hurts his team. Like, he's got the decision making. Somebody described it as like he's got all the technique of a La Masia graduate, but with the kind of like cold, rational, like Dutch or German football brain.
Okay,
like what we associate.
Take, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that does actually make sense. Like, this is what you get when you train players with Spanish technique, Argentinian talent in a Dutch style. Like, this is what you get. He's the perfect example of it. Xavi as well, you'd have to say, would be a similar sort of player. He could have got 4 in this game. Like, he hit the post in the last minute, which would have been outrageous. He's got 39 goals in 38 appearances in all competitions. That's not involved in goals. Those are actual goals. We haven't even factored in his assists. They've pretty much wrapped up the title. The treble is still on the cards as they're in the final of the Copa del Rey. And I think the bookies are rating them as joint favourites with Man City for the Champions League, which I think is a little bit strong. I think City are better. I think Liverpool might be better. But when you've got the best player of all time in arguably the best form of his career, it is just possible that you sweep all before you. Man United up next, of course, in the Champions League quarterfinals. What a game that will be. But frankly, it's just a privilege to watch Messi at the moment.
It is. I'm scared. So that's all we have time for on Euro Roundup for this week. Did we miss anyone out? It was quite a big weekend in Europe. Let us know in the comments below. Pat, where should they go next?
Head over to Football Daily and check out Winners and Losers, where Zach Jellab and I take a look at the winners and losers from the Premier League and the FA Cup this weekend. Liverpool makes an appearance, obviously Man United as well, and Chelsea, who just seem to get worse and worse. See you next time.